It's something I've seen a lot of. A surprising, though often positive, number of impacts on a player's psychology a game may have. I've seen people drawn to the worlds, characters, and mechanics in ways that evolve past simple enjoyment, where escapism isn't just about turning off your brains for a few hours to ignore the problems of the everyday grind, but getting so engrossed that one could credit a title for shaping who they are today. I've seen exploration being used to get past dark mental places, romance between a player character and an NPC being used as a coping device, and building various homes and habitats to be a nice, calming experience. These are the type of things that could make something go from being fun to being special. A genuine attachment that, despite so many people sharing the same basic path, choices, and experiences, somehow molds itself uniquely and entirely personal. Some may think such impacts are odd. After all, they're largely entertainment pieces, recreational devices created by a company with full intent to make said company money. However, I for one believe these are just as much art pieces as they are products of commercial interest. Their works created not only to be entertaining, but often emotionally driven and extremely appealing. Obviously, I'm not the only one who believes that. I once went to a convention and visited a panel ran by voice actor Greg Ayres. In it, he talked about how he was in a mental dark place with deaths in his family. And it was Animal Crossing New Leaf that helped him through it, which was something he had little interest in, but a friend sort of pestered him to try it out. While playing, he found attachment to these strange fictional characters, and went from being bothered by the idea of playing this game to not only enjoying it, but helped him during a rough point in his life. He asked the audience what games helped them. For some, Skyrim was a second home, as was Minecraft. Horror games surprisingly made some of them less fearful of the future, which may sound contradictory, but the idea was if they can deal with those monsters, the next day wasn't so scary. And for some, a number of action games gave a good bit of recreation when times were tough. Of course, these are examples that are a bit deep, where games became something of a mental assistance. Important, yes, but we can't forget that games can be so meaningful that even when times are fine, they can still shape who someone is today. Between the panel and small stories I read online, I started to wonder if there was a game that did either of those for me. A game that has helped me cope during a dark time in my life, or left a large enough impact that I was a bit different coming out than I was going in. And maybe there was. Perhaps not nearly to the same gravity as some of these stories, but impactful nonetheless. 4 games come to mind, 3 of which aren't as deep but did shape who I am today, and another one helped me during a dark time. These are Sonic Adventure, Fallout 3, Mass Effect, the entire trilogy, so I guess it's a bit more than 4 games, and Team Fortress 2. I'll start off with the lighter stuff first. When I was a kid, the original Sonic the Hedgehog was my first game. I got it along with the Sega Genesis as a bundle for Christmas. I could argue that Sonic 1 was the biggest influence, but I expect any game that was my first would have set me on a similar path. Plus, I was somehow disengaged with the larger public, not knowing how popular Sonic was during the 90s and very early 2000s. I didn't even know there was a 3D Sonic until years later, like 2003 or something. I know, I'm old as crap. Still, my stepdad had a Dreamcast and both Sonic Adventures. I was an impressionable middle schooler, and Sonic Adventure was a revolutionary game to me personally. It shaped a lot of my tastes, made me care about stories more. Again, young kid, I thought Sonic Adventure was a good story at the time. Got me interested in fanworks and all the terrible creations, and helped shape an interest in ancient societies thanks to the Mayan-inspired architecture and the mystic ruins. Though I expect Empire Earth had a larger impact on that. Fallout 3, of course, was also a big deal. I mean, I'm primarily a Fallout YouTuber, it's hardly surprising a Fallout game did something significant for me. The third game helped shape my taste in post-apocalyptic stories, heavy exploration, choices, karma systems, and role-playing games as a whole. Said it before, I'll say it again. The closest comparison I had at the time was really just Fable. There's no doubt that Fallout 3 personally affected me. Hell, I'm making videos because of this game. Over time, I saw other areas of the franchise. Different games ranging from the classic era up to the modern era. And while my opinions have certainly shifted around, it's hard to deny the impact Fallout 3 had. Mass Effect, the entire trilogy, was something I played in my college years. It was a very beautiful series that grabbed me in a way that I just could not have imagined. A deep connection with characters that I never had before. I always had favorite characters, sure, but caring about my squad mates, wanting to see their story arcs, a few who even died in some cases. It was amazing. Some of that was helped by a cinematic dialogue. It was new to me. And done so well, my stepmother walked by my room when I was home during the summer. She heard Shepard giving a speech to the Normandy crew and thought I was watching a movie. That's how I knew that games had reached a point where they really were just as much art pieces as any film was. To say Mass Effect had a strong impact on me would be an understatement. Honestly, the damn trilogy ruined games for me for like 2 weeks when I finished it. I couldn't play anything else. Apparently this is a common thing. But after those 2 weeks, I was able to start my first BioShock run. Still, nothing's compared since then. At least until I played Baldur's Gate 3. Not as strong, mind you, but it did well. Those are all pretty lighthearted, but let's go into the deeper one. Not the same emotional support as some of these stories, but Team Fortress 2 was a game that helped me a bit. Also during my college years. I was in an emotional flunk. Thoughts of death, depression, health concerns, financial concerns. But loading up Team Fortress 2 and playing a few rounds gave me comfort. I don't know why. The rampant silliness TF2 is known for, getting good runs in casual, and just having fun was a real comfortable return. It's not like it's a super compelling piece of media. It didn't speak to me emotionally or have me think deeply, but it did help. Maybe it was the unapologetic goofiness that I needed as I worked myself out of the funk. Maybe it's the feeling that I did something when I helped gain a victory. Or maybe it was a sense of community when everyone just went friendly. I don't know. Regardless, this dumb, team-based shooter was a helping hand, even if that helping hand did nothing for the underlying problem. So those were 4 different times I was shaped by a game, where I gained interest, felt emotionally charged, or used as a coping mechanism. What about you? Do you have stories where a game got you through rough patches, gave you unique interests, or captured you emotionally? Have there been games that shaped who you are now? And a special thanks to my channel members, especially my members, Thriceover members, like That Crazy Game Developer and Danny McPhee. If you'd like to support me and join as well, I'd be more than happy. Otherwise, like, share, subscribe, all that typical YouTube stuff. Thank you. Have a good one.